In the quiet suburban neighborhood, nestled in the heart of Harahan, Louisiana, a harrowing tragedy unfolded which shattered the tranquility that once graced its streets. At the heart of this story was Bella Elena Fontenelle, an innocent 6-year-old girl whose life was unexpectedly cut short in the most unthinkable way. The circumstances surrounding her death were as chilling as they were perplexing, being found inside a chlorine drum on her own mother's lawn. As the investigation unfolded, a haunting video emerged which cast suspicion on those closest to the young girl. This is the horrifying story of Bella, the tragic and unexpected loss of a young life in the most unimaginable of places. Bella was the youngest child born to Jennifer Zeledon and Michael Fontenelle in 2017. Despite their separation, the loving parents continued to shower Bella with love and would take turns to spend time with her. Her dad later entered into a new relationship with Hannah Landon, who's also known as Bunuk Lim. Landon and Michael stayed together in a gray single-story home at the Donelon Drive residence in Harahan, Louisiana. While Bella and her older sister lived in their dad's house, their biological mother, Jennifer, resided at Sedgefield Drive, less than 2 blocks away from them. Landon seemed like a caring stepmother who got along well with the children, especially Bella. They would often go for walks, ride the bike, and have fun in the pool together. Enrolled at St. Matthew, the Apostle School, Bella was a hardworking student and was always open to new knowledge and experiences. Her teachers and classmates loved to be around her as she was a joyful girl that always brought smiles to their faces. Bella's cheerful demeanor also made her approachable and friendly to everyone around the neighborhood. Almost like a shining beacon, it was always a beautiful sight to see Bella having fun with her sister in the driveway. However, little did anyone expect that Bella's joyful spirit would now serve as a guiding light in the relentless pursuit of justice and the quest to unravel the chilling circumstances surrounding the little girl's tragic demise. It was a typical morning on April 26, 2023, when Michael woke up at around 7:30 a.m. Sensing that something was amiss, he searched his home to find that Landon and Bella were nowhere to be found. It was unusual for both of them to be out this early, so the worried dad tried every way to contact Landon, but to no avail. With a gripping sense of uneasiness, he finally decided to contact the police. And never in his wildest dreams did he expect this phone call would lead to a tragic discovery of the missing girl. The officers quickly arrived at the family home on Donelon Drive and launched a full-scale missing person investigation around the neighborhood. It wasn't long before the investigation led them to Bella's mother, Jennifer's residence just around the corner located on Sedgefield Drive. There, a conspicuous 10-gallon chlorine bucket was suspiciously positioned on the front lawn. By this point, the search was already frantic and everyone was just searching in random places. Leaving no stone unturned, there was no way they were going to pass on checking its contents. And never did they expect the grisly sight of what awaited them inside. The grim sight of the missing girl inside, cold and lifeless, cast a shroud of unspeakable sorrow over the horrific scene. As soon as Jennifer witnessed what was happening in front of her, she broke down into tears. But who could have done this? And why? With heavy hearts, the police continued to search for clues and evidence around the area. They questioned both of Bella's biological parents, but neither believed the other to be responsible for their child's untimely end. It was not long after the search that they found chilling footage from a nearby doorbell camera. The time was around 9:33 p.m., and a woman dressed in a red top and black pants was leisurely strolling down the street, a wagon in tow with a plastic chlorine bucket. Heading towards the direction of Jennifer's house, the woman resembled the stepmother, Landon. Although she was pulling the suspicious-looking bucket, she looked rather calm and nonchalant, making no effort to hide the bucket even when a white minivan drove past her. It was quickly obvious that the bucket resembled the one that they had just discovered on Jennifer's front lawn. Being the strongest clue they had in this case, they set out immediately to look for Landon. It was an intense search before finally, at around 2 p.m., the authorities managed to track her down to a local hospital. In a strange twist of events, Landon had earlier handed herself to the police HQ around midnight. But what seemed even more bizarre was that she was hospitalized after she delivered the bucket to Jennifer. The officers on duty revealed that around 12:01 a.m., the distressed Landon appeared at the doorstep of the police HQ. In her anxious and disoriented state, she requested immediate medical attention. However, she gave no details on what had happened to her. Worried, the police called an ambulance to transport her to a nearby hospital where she would undergo a thorough evaluation. Landon was taken into custody by law enforcement after her discharge from the hospital in the afternoon. Following a preliminary autopsy, the chilling details of Bella's cause of death came to the surface. The results revealed that the girl suffered both manual strangulation and blunt force injuries to the head and multiple injuries in the body. It was unclear whether the injuries were inflicted by hand or with the use of an object. As all pieces of evidence seemed to point towards her, the investigators believed that Landon was culpable for the unthinkable. Things seemed really baffling at this point, but it led to the revelations of past history between Landon and Jennifer. The tensions between these two women stretched back over several years, painting a backdrop of strained relationships and unresolved conflicts. In 2021, during a swim meet for Bella, there was a heated argument between the two women over who would be holding Bella. Landon was seen holding Bella, and Jennifer later came over to take her daughter away. Refusing to back down, Landon prevented Bella from going to Jennifer, stating that it was Michael's custody day. But she quickly changed her mind and allowed the mom to hug Bella for just 1 minute. According to court documents, Landon claimed that Jennifer threatened and attacked her without provocation. Jennifer's sister, Evelyn, also joined in the argument by grabbing her shoulders and pulling her hair. However, for Jennifer and Evelyn, it was Landon who instigated the catfight. After suggesting that Jennifer could only hug Bella for a minute, Landon started to record the incident with her phone. It appeared to them that Landon was trying to provoke them. Incensed by Landon's antics, they were embroiled in the physical altercation, and Jennifer then called the police. Michael was on the opposite side of the pool when the argument started. Although he did not have a full picture of what was going on and was unable to provide a statement on Landon's account, he chose to support Landon in this incident. In the police station, Landon was extremely uncooperative before claiming that she was attacked unprovoked. Following the conflict, Landon requested a restraining order against Bella's mother, Jennifer, and Aunt Evelyn, as she claimed that she feared for her safety. However, the request was declined due to the lack of evidence that she had zero responsibility for the incident. Several months later, the two women got into another physical altercation at one of the daughters' soccer games. Again, Landon claimed to be a victim and alleged that Jennifer made multiple threats of harm against her without provocation. She told the authorities that Jennifer grabbed her wrist while pressing her body close to her and threatened, "I will hurt you." She then sought legal intervention again by requesting a permanent restraining order against Jennifer, but the request was denied as there was insufficient cause for long-term legal protection. All these conflicts had one thing in common: they had nothing to do with the innocent girl. Was this an act of revenge towards Jennifer? Or was her love for Bella so strong that she wanted her all for herself? Following her arrest on April 26, 2023, Landon was formally charged with first-degree murder and interfering with justice. She is currently detained at the Jefferson Parish Correctional Center, and in preparation for her defense, she has filed a motion to gain access to a psychiatrist. Landon is now being held under suicide watch due to concerns about her mental well-being and the potential risk she may pose to herself. One may think that perhaps the need for a psychiatrist could be an indication of the weight of guilt or remorse from Landon. But it's difficult to avoid cynicism, as she could also be laying the foundations to potentially try to lighten her sentence. Especially when considering how high the stakes are in this case, as under Louisiana law, being convicted of first-degree murder carries the potential for the death penalty. Following Bella's demise, her other aunt, Bianca, launched a GoFundMe fundraiser to alleviate the financial burden faced by the grieving family. Bianca expressed her grief in one of the posts. "The world is so unjust. You were given to us for 6 amazing years. You were beyond perfection. Your beautiful little voice, your funny personality, the way you danced, the way you were so delicate and fragile, your smile, your laugh, the way you expressed yourself. I can go on and on about how amazing this little soul was." Everyone was devastated after hearing about the passing of Bella. Classes were canceled for a few days, and the pastor of St. Matthew, the Apostle Church and School, organized a prayer service for Bella. With tears streaming down Bella's classmates and their parents' faces, they silently prayed and mourned for the little angel. No parent should ever have to bury their own child, and it was heartbreaking to see the mother and father doing just that. Bella was laid to rest on May 5, 2023, at the church. In honor of Bella's favorite color, everyone wore a small red accessory on that day, in remembrance of this beautiful soul. The question remains, what further revelations will emerge to bring clarity and justice to this heart-wrenching story? Join the conversation and share your thoughts on this gripping case, and don't forget to like and subscribe.